Hi my friends, it's Bonnie's Best Creations and welcome back. I've got something to share with you that I've been working on since we've gone into isolation. And I've wanted to do this for a while and never had the time. But boy oh boy, do we have time now. So here we go. I'd like to show you this. I bought this material from a thrift shop maybe a year ago. I love the colors. It actually was a placemat. And I knew that I wanted to use it for something. And finally, I decided this is what I was going to do. I put my hand to slow stitching. And if you've looked on other people's channels about slow stitching, it's using all those skills that you might have or just basic hand stitching just to make beautiful things and to help pass the time, even in the evenings when you're watching TV like we all do. So what I decided to do is I've decided with this isolation, I'm using all my stash because we can't buy anything, right? And I don't know if you're like me, I have loads of stash. We who love this kind of craft, we save and save and save. So this is what I've done. Slow stitching is much like embroidery. And maybe something your mom's taught you. Remember pillowcases and tablecloths? Well, I sure do. So what I did is I shall open this up so you can see. And so I will show you. So what it is I used a placemat, folded it in half, and then things that I have, crocheted doilies. Doilies like the Battenberg doily that I love. This fabric that I bought. I just did the whip stitch around each one of them to fasten them to this placemat, and around here. I even made these, do you remember these that you learned how to do years ago? So I decided to do 3 of them using some French knots, pieces of lace and buttons just to start this journal. So my journal, and I hope maybe, I'm not finished because we're still in this isolation. So this will be an ongoing task. But I am full of thoughts and I love words and I love playing with words. I love poetry. So some things in here are serious and some things are funny. I hope you find us funny. So what I did is I did one signature with the coffee stain paper, that some paper I already had, you know, like designer paper. And what I've done in this journal as well is put a lot of things that I've never done before. So I wanted to save it because I'll show you as we go along. So here, part of this signature, I included another Battenberg kind of lace doily, kind of similar that was on the front. If you've looked at any of my other postings, I've done the beaded dragonflies and I turned that into a bookmark. And again, another bookmark. I still have things that I want to write in here about this isolation and pandemic. So that's what is in this journal. I've done some of my photo stamping, embellishment, made an envelope here, and I put in here, I mean, this might be a history book one day if we ever come out of this. So when it all started, March 17th, 2020, a worldwide pandemic declared. Who knows who will read this one day? So this is my journal. So I've coffee dyed these papers when the journey began, and this is what I decided to do when we were in isolation, to do at least one new thing a day, to give to others once a day, somehow, whether it's a phone call, baking, email, texting, doing something for somebody else. And then pray like never before, at least 3 times a day. So here I created just this little tuck that I can put something in there with. I cut the bird out. If you see, there's birds on this placemat. I cut that out and stitched around there, and that's a tuck if I want to put something in there. Here's another one of my photo images that I did, and here I wrote, will we remember that we were told to do nothing? Don't go, don't travel, don't contaminate to pass the bug. Will we remember that the world said stop, to say it's okay to drop and plop and stop? Who would ever tell us? Who would have ever thought this would have happened? I just did another one of my photo stamps and put in there trust. More space there for journaling. I've dabbled in watercolors, so I've put that there of what I've tried to do. Bumblebees. And just contemplating thoughts, believing in the moments, trusting in the minutes, creative God be magnified, crazy, uncertain times. And then here's a bit of music, and I think a lot of us are praying. We're praying like never before that this would stop, and there's so many people sick and dying, especially seniors. Okay, so here's another little envelope that I use, and I made a bookmark here, and I wrote this. Imagination. Why do we do the things we do? We do and do and do. Does the do bring do good? Does do bring us joy? Then I think I will continue to do. Us that are crafters, we always find something to do, and we've been told it's okay to do nothing. So there's another write-up I wrote there about the isolation. Does isolation mean devastation? No, not at all. A time to pause, to reflect what matters the most. In a weary world, a time to reject useless moments that took my time, no thought. Complaining, I must stop to be content with all that I've got. We have compared to so many countries, I don't know where you're living, but we are blessed. Here's another little insert I made. I have a wild imagination. My mind never stops. And here I did some watercolor butterflies, and I wrote, there's my imagination, a butterfly tree. I think you might agree that there might be something about a butterfly tree, growing whimsical flutters of gold, blue, even dotted with emerald green. Imagine a world of happiness they would bring. I dream of the endless possibilities of a butterfly tree. So I just, see, it's something new I've done every day. My imagination is wild. And there I've tried some watercolor there. I like this quote from Peter Pan. Come fly with me, where dreams are born and time is never planned. So dream. I created a little tuck, and this is probably the smallest book I've ever made. Just with some that material here, a cover. I stitched the signature in there, so I'm going to be able to write some stuff and take a breath. We have to learn to stop to breathe. It's not easy, I know it's not easy, but we have to keep going, right? For our families, our friends, our healthcare workers. I developed an envelope here out of just a piece of paper and just stitch with my machine around there. And a little paper clip. And I wrote, this is wash your hands, scrub, 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 each finger one by one. Scrub your knuckles, not once, but millions of times a day, maybe. Avoid that bug. Our hands are raw, aren't they? Okay, so then I'm thankful. I used a coffee filter there just to put that tuck in there. And an envelope. I just folded the coffee filter and stuck in there. Are you eating lots? People are eating chocolates galore. People are gaining weight because sometimes boredom does that to us. And here I've developed I did another paper clip here to hold this down. Thankful, bounty, blessed. Yes, we're blessed. And I did a little insert here, and I wrote here, no toilet paper? Ugh, what a mess. I can't find the yeast. Oh man, I've got to wear even a mask. We line up one by one to see what may be left. Ugh, tea and coffee is still bountiful. For this, I'm truly blessed. So what would we do without our coffee? So I got this lady sipping tea or coffee, which I love my coffee in the morning. And then I did this, just stitched a little paper clip thing. And on the back, I found this Twillings tea that I cut out from a box. So silly things, but you know what? We must remember. We must remember. Haven't written anything. Yes, I did. Okay. So, actually, I put this because this is an old doily paper that the doilies were attached to. And I thought, gee, do you remember people talking about the Spanish flu and all that? I think we're reliving some of those days, so that reminded me of that. And then more places from journaling. I wrote something along here. I did dried flowers for the first time and put put that card in there. Just one of the new things that I chose to do. So there you go. I don't know. I hope I made you laugh with some of those sayings. I hope I inspired you to try something different when you're cooped up doing who knows. Even the weather here, it's so cold you can't even hardly get out to garden. It's so cold. But there you go. My COVID-19 isolation journal. I hope you liked it. Leave me some comments and I will see you again. God bless.